Hello, I'm Jared Taylor with American Renaissance. In the last few days, monuments have been coming down at a great clip. After George Floyd died with Derek Chauvin's knee on his neck, Confederate statues were the first to go, though I never did hear that Officer Chauvin had any Southern sympathies. Blacks and hopped-up white people just don't like Confederates because, as the current thinking goes, they were racist, slave-holding traitors. Of course, the Founding Fathers were racist, slave-holding traitors to King George, so they had to go too. Here's Thomas Jefferson, who used to be on a pedestal in Portland, Oregon. George Washington got the same treatment, with an added message for the police. Washington's statue in Baltimore is still standing, but he got a facelift. And of course, it's all the rage to go after Columbus because he brought white people to America, which was the mother of all crimes. Here he is on his face in Minneapolis with an Indian kneeling on his neck in honor of George Floyd. The Columbus statue in Richmond ended up in a pond. In Boston, Chris lost his head. But Columbus has been taking a beating for years. Here he is in Central Park in New York with blood on his hands. The statue in Bridgeport, Connecticut says, "Kill the colonizer." That means you. In Houston, he got the red paint treatment. Norse explorers got the same kind of treatment. Thorfinn Karlsefni was the father of the first white child born in North America over 1,000 years ago. His statue has stood for nearly a century in Philadelphia, but 2 years ago, he was pitched into the river. But let's get back to the riots. Did you know that an actual Vatican-recognized Catholic saint has been pulled down? Junipero Serra was an 18th century Franciscan who set up the Catholic mission system in California. Here he is after he took a tumble in Los Angeles. And down he came in San Francisco's Golden Gate Park, too. Francis Scott Key and Ulysses S. Grant came down the same day. You'd think Grant would be a good guy because he killed Confederates, but no, he was a bad guy too. Washington, D.C. used to have a nice statue of Albert Pike. You probably never heard of him, but he was a big name in the Masonic movement. Here he is in his regalia. But the only thing that matters now is that he fought for the Confederacy. There are other people you probably never heard of who had to go. Here is Caesar Rodney being hoisted out of Rodney Square in Wilmington, Delaware. The city took him away just ahead of the mob. Wilmington got rid of Columbus, too, for the same reason. There is no end to the people defaced, destroyed, torn down. David Farragut, Matthias Baldwin, Zebulon Vance, Philip Schuyler, Wanda Oñate, Abraham Lincoln, John Sutter, Teddy Roosevelt, Edward Carmack, Frank Rizzo, Jerry Richardson, William Clark, George Marshall, Hans Christian Heg. I'd never heard of some of these people. And what did Thaddeus Kosciuszko ever do to black people? But to me, the most important people who have come down were not politicians or explorers or soldiers, but just ordinary folks. Cal State Long Beach used to have a mascot named Prospector Pete. He had to go because the gold rush brought people to California, white people. At the University of Oregon, there used to be statues honoring the pioneers who settled the state. This guy never owned a slave or fought for the Confederates. He just came west. The same is true for this statue of the pioneer mother. All she did was come west and have children. Madison, Wisconsin used to have a statue called Forward, symbolizing devotion and progress, sculpted by a woman, Jean Minor. A mob tore her down in the name of Black Lives Matter. Well, what do all these people have in common? They were white. Because you see, white lives, white monuments don't matter. They are bad. Sounds like a form of white privilege to me. Monuments do come down, of course. History is full of statues knocked down, mutilated when the population changes. In ancient Egypt, when there was a change in dynasty, the new guys knocked the noses off the old guys and gals. You will remember that in 2015, the Taliban blew up 1,000-year-old statues in Bamiyan because the statues were Buddhist and the Taliban were Muslims. This was the 2,000-year-old temple of Baal in Palmyra. This is all that was left after the Muslims of ISIS wrecked it. We consider this sort of thing barbaric and revolting. Now, a country can decide whom it will honor and whom it will not. There are orderly procedures for this sort of thing. But how is what we are seeing now any different from what happened in Bamiyan and Palmyra? There's another important point. When the English settled the colonies, there weren't any monuments to destroy, but there were place names that we could have erased and didn't. Did you know that more than half of the American states have Indian names? Countless rivers, lakes, mountains, towns, and cities have Indian names. This is just the beginning of an alphabetical list of Indian place names in a state with an Indian name, Alabama. Have you ever heard of a movement to take down a statue of an Indian or change an Indian place name because white people got scalped? Never. But ask yourself, in this current frenzy, is any statue of a white man or a white woman safe? I don't think so. When people tear down monuments, it's usually because there was a change in population or a change in political regime. The population of the United States is becoming more non-white, and that's part of the mania to tear down the white man. But many of the people stirring up the mob are white. This is unprecedented. No group in all of human history has ever wanted to tear its own face off its own monuments. But is this really any different from people in white countries opening their borders to millions of strangers and aliens? When white people knock down statues of Columbus or pioneer women, they are saying, we don't deserve to be here. Well, should we then all go back to Europe? Well, maybe, if we could keep the continent to ourselves, but that's not allowed either, is it? The people who tell you United States is stolen land would be the first to tell you that France and Germany have to let in millions of Africans and millions of Muslims. This sickness has been festering for a long time. It's just coming to a head. So wake up, white man. You have bitter foes, some of them right there in your own ranks. Someday, you'll have to take a stand, or you'll have nothing to stand for. Thanks for watching. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. And because it's not being suggested in the usual way, I'd appreciate it very much if you'd send the link to your friends. You might take a look at our podcast channel. That's on YouTube at Amren Podcasts. And please visit our website at amren.com. That's AMREN.com.